URC power rankings after 15 rounds, folks. We're only 3 rounds to go of the regular season before we have our top 8. The top kind of 4 teams are looking relatively settled, but there's going to be a whole bunch of changes between now and the end of the comp for at least those final 4 spots in the playoffs. We'll go through the power rankings, how we think the kind of form is going for some of these sides, and you guys can let us know your thoughts. Who's too high and who's too low. We can probably still all agree that the Dragons are the bottom team in the power rankings. They are still just the 1 win this season. They did give the Scarlets guys a bit of a game on Judgment Day at the Principality, but it was still 31-23. So yeah, wins are looking pretty hard to come by. And they've still got 2 games to play in South Africa before the end of the season. There's only 3 rounds to go. So yeah, sooner the campaign comes to an end for them, probably the better. But hey, at least there were some bright signs. This side is down 1 spot. The Lions finished this campaign with 4 home games. They had Benetton at home. Their push for the finals started here. They had to win this one and they bloody lost. The Lions, 42-31 to Benetton, losing at home. I think that's 4 losses in a row for the Lions, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, they're still in it mathematically, but there's a big difference to their rankings, I feel like, both on the power rankings and on the table, if they get that win. The actual table has them, I think, in 14th, so still pretty similar. But, yeah, current form for the Lions is not good. That means Connacht, despite the fact that they lost, are actually up 1 in the power rankings. The Lions and Connacht have swapped. The Lions' loss was worse than the Connacht loss. Connacht only lost kind of marginally away from home against the Stormers, whereas Lions lost at home to Benetton. So power rankings are saying the Lions' loss was worse, and all things being considered, yeah, that means Connacht go up in the power rankings. I mean, their form is still not great. I think they're on 3 losses in a row. Their season is also not looking kind of that optimistic, but hey, at least that they could have won that game if they had not had their final try chalked off for obstruction. Next is Zebre. It is strange to see Zebre above the likes of Connacht and the Lions, but I mean, if you're just looking at the pure win-loss record, I mean, Zebre are 15th on the table, but I mean, Zebre have got the same win-loss record as Connacht. 5 wins, 10 losses. So yeah, they pushed Glasgow. They played the 2nd top-ranked side in the URC. We're leading them at half-time. Only lost by 8 points, albeit at home. So Zebre are still down a spot on the power rankings. They had a recent resurgence a few weeks ago in the URC weeks, but yeah, it's a couple of losses on the bounce now. I think, is it 3? 2 or 3? Yeah, those wins from a few weeks ago are starting to look like quite a way back. 12th, we've got the Ospreys, who are down on the power rankings by 2 spots. Judgment Day loss to Cardiff. Again, it had kind of signs of life. Jack Morgan always leads from the front for the Ospreys, but ultimately they lost pretty handily, 36-19. The last 2 minutes not kind to them, where they conceded a couple of tries, really blew the scoreline out. So I think they are 13th on the actual log, so the power rankings is ruling they are in slightly better form than what the log says, but even then I think that's 2 losses on the bounce for them. Edinburgh are 11th on the power rankings, which I think matches their ranking in the actual table. 6-9 is their win-loss record. They really could have used a win against the Sharks. They lost by a point at home. They did more than enough to win that game in terms of opportunities created, but opportunities finished didn't quite match up. They still have a relatively decent run in for the last few rounds in terms of they're not playing Leinster and the Bulls and Glasgow and some of the other top sides, so there's still a chance, Edinburgh, but I think they're only 1 win from their last 3 games. Ulster are down, I think, a whopping 4 spots, which seems harsh because they lost to Leinster. They got pretty walloped by Leinster. They had a bunch of injuries, which was even more concerning than the result. But it's more about the teams around them. The kind of teams that they might have liked to see lose ended up winning. So this is not so much a punishment for Ulster as it's just the way it's worked out with other teams getting results in the middle of the table is just that logjam. So Ulster, I think, are also 10th on the table. So yeah, the power rankings had them a bit higher after a kind of more recent resurgence, but their recent couple of run of wins has been broken with that Leinster game. And then in 9th spot, Cardiff, I think, have gone up a whopping 4 spots. And it probably helps for them that teams like, Edinburgh and the Ospreys and Zebre and whatnot have all been losing. So the teams around them, their kind of rivals in that area, have been losing. So yeah, they won against the Ospreys. I think they've won 2 of their last 3. Cardiff are 6th on the table. But will they be in the playoffs come the end of the next 3 rounds is going to be a really fascinating one. Would love to see one of the Welsh sides make it. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of games in South Africa to come for the Welsh side. So points are going to be at a premium because I don't think I looked at it last year, but at least maybe the year before I looked at the kind of head-to-head records of the sides, and the Welsh record, at least a couple of years ago in South Africa, was not very good. Top 8 spots in terms of the power rankings. We do have a Welsh side in the Scarlets. They are up 3 spots with their win over the Dragons, which is not exactly kind of a statement win against the side who've been firmly fixed to the bottom of the competition for a while. I think they're on 2 wins in a row, so potentially coming into some form at the right part of the season, but yeah, it's maybe being a little bit generous for them, but it's only 1 spot difference from their table spot, but recent form-wise, we'll see if they can carry that into the next 3 rounds. 7th, I got Munster, who've taken also a little bit of a drop, down 3 spots, with a very narrow home loss to the Bulls. I mentioned in the wrap-up video yesterday that was kind of controversial with the whole man down for like 13 minutes thing erroneously by the referees, but yeah, home loss is always a kind of pretty tough one to take, and as happened with some of the other teams, there's a few sides around Munster who have managed to pick up wins, but Munster are also 7th on the table as well, so it's all pretty kind of matching there. I've got the Stormers in 6th. They are one of the teams who are ranked higher on the power rankings kind of significantly than the log. They are 8th on the log, so really just by the skin of their teeth in the playoff spots at the minute. But form-wise, I think the Stormers are 3 from their last 4. They played some magic rugby in their game against Connacht. Like, they only won pretty close game, but man, like hat-trick to Feinberg and Ngomzulu in the first half was some pretty slick stuff. So yeah, if they can click, get some points in the next few rounds, they could keep climbing in the power rankings and on the log itself. And then Benetton, who are a little bit of a surprise package, 1 down in South Africa, which some of the European teams haven't been that kind of proficient in, but yeah, good win for these guys. From Italy, Benetton over the Lions. I think they were pretty big underdogs in that one. It was a high-scoring affair, but they got the job done. And 5th is also their spot on the table as well. Top row, Benetton's up 2. Sharks are up 1 into the top row. So, yeah, that's the same spot as they've got on the log. They're still unconvincing. Despite their squad, despite the big-name talent, I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than they were looking last year. Last year, the Sharks were awful. This year, they're still getting decent results. Like, their record is, 10-5? John Plumtree is getting a lot of stick, but 10-5, it's like not bad. It's not bad, although I guess when you look at the playing roster, you wonder why they're not, 11, 12, 13 wins or more this competition, but still 10-5. Top 4 side, and that away win in Edinburgh sees them into the top 4 of the power rankings. Glasgow are still in 3rd with a kind of less than convincing win over Zebre. They had to push for it, got a couple of tries during Zebre's yellow card in the second half, but I feel like there was a little bit of a hangover from the Champions Cup from them, so hopefully this win for them kind of shakes off some of that. I think 3 wins in a row for Glasgow as well. The Bulls remain in 2nd with their away win at Munster. Also, I think 3 wins in a row. I think they said they're the first South African side to do like the kind of slam with the wins over the Irish sides this year, although many people point out that the side they played from Leinster wasn't exactly Leinster's strongest side, but man, a win is a win. So that's a big achievement for the Bulls. as we head into the business end. Their record is also pretty slick, same as Glasgow, 11-4. Those are guys who are in different positions on the table. Glasgow's in second, the Bulls are in third. There's not a lot between them, but I think they're playing each other this weekend too. And then Leinster, top of the log, 14-1, so 3 wins better than the next best team. Beat Ulster 41-17. Them and the Dragons are the kind of only surefire ones in terms of the power rankings. I think everyone else in the middle, there's not that much between, some of these sides, especially, as I said, those guys in the middle. So it's kind of looking like it's going to boil down to Leinster up against the Bulls or Glasgow, or if the Sharks can click, who knows? Maybe the Stormers are finding some form at the right time, but we'll kind of have to wait and see how the remainder of the season pans out. It is a good thing for the competition that genuinely so many games are of interest, and you can't necessarily just pick a winner from looking at the team sheets. But you guys let us know your thoughts. There's a few differences between the power rankings and the actual table. Do you reckon the Stormers are a little bit overvalued here? Do you think they're good value for their 6th spot, which is higher than the rankings? Do you think the Bulls are above Glasgow, or do you think there's not much between them? You guys let us know your thoughts, and talk to you guys again soon. See you later.